Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from deltacx. We are a full service CX and UX consultancy, and it is time for our short Friday stream. Deb reacts to stuff. And I've only got 3 stuffs today, so if you have anything you'd like me to react to, we do this every Friday. When I have something to react to, you can send it to deltacx.link/reaction. So let's jump right in. And if you're watching live, tell me how you're doing in the chat room. I'm watching the YouTube and the LinkedIn chat room. So let me see if I can press the right button here and switch over to the screen of Hi, Charlene, of things to react to. Okay, you should now be seeing, yes, me in the corner, chat room, big screen. One of the things I was sent in the last week or so, oh great, my email's going to go off too, was this UX Planet Medium article, 5 ideas to try if you lack UX work experience. So, again, these are my opinions. Do I think these are good ideas or not? The first one was contribute to open source. Now, last I checked, most open source projects were more code than design. It says check GitHub for issues labeled as issues needing design help. The problem with this is that if you go to put it later in your portfolio, because again, why else would you be doing this? If you're doing this to get experience, because the article says if you lack work experience. So pretty much, chances are most of the things in this article will suffer from 2 problems. Number 1, who's checking your work? If you are doing GitHub design issues or something else and no one's checking if your work is good or not, coaching you, mentoring you, helping you level up, what are you doing? And what are you going to put in your portfolio? Which is number 2. What are you going to put in your portfolio? Because chances are you're guessing at this stuff. Chances are these design issues in somebody's GitHub open source stuff are not going to allow you to do a full arc of user-centered design, research, information architecture, interaction design, testing. Chances are they're fast UI fixes. So you can certainly do them, but I wouldn't want you to think that they're really going to give you any sort of UX experience. It's probably guessing, and it's probably mostly UI. Looking at some of the other advice in this article, they're saying design for good. So looking for nonprofits and not-for-profits who are looking for design help. I have poked around some of these sites a little bit, and normally what I have found are UI, graphic design, visual design, and marketing stuff. I have not yet seen a real UX project that, again, is all of the things that will let you do research, that will wait for those research results. And again, are you doing this with any coaching or mentoring? Because if you're going to do work for a nonprofit or not-for-profit and you're guessing because you're new to UX or you're still learning UX, are you going to do good work? I hope you are. But it's probably a good time to have that mentoring and coaching, because we don't want to give a charity not good work. We don't want to give a charity guest work. That they deserve better, and you deserve the mentoring and coaching to help you level up and learn more. Lila is here. Hello. Anish says, like they say, UI UX designer. Yep. It's often UI before UX, unfortunately. So again, same questions. Are these really UX projects? Will they make sense in your portfolio, or will it look like you quickly guessed at something to just say you got something done? Usually they recommend hackathons. Is that going to be on the list? Yeah, hackathons. I recommend against hackathons for the same reasons I've been giving you. Doing freelance, I tend to recommend against quite strongly. When I think about someone who is a freelancer, I think about an experienced person. I think about someone with 3 years of experience or more, maybe even 5 or 6 years of experience or more, who can come in as a freelancer, be strategic with the project, be tactical with the project, know which of our phases and tasks to use and when and why, be able to estimate the time, because especially on a site like Upwork, you have to estimate your hours so you can tell people how much this costs. If you are still starting out and don't have work experience yet, because that's what this article was, if you lack work experience, which means you haven't had any work experience yet, chances are you're not the freelancer that most people are looking for. People are usually looking for people with experience who can hit the ground running. Most people, when they think of freelancer, they don't think of someone who has never done this job before. And then what did we miss here? Internships. Yes, obviously, if you can get an internship or apprenticeship, I believe that is the way to go. So I am going to have to give this article 2 dogs out of 5. I appreciate that they suggested an internship and I'm suggesting an apprenticeship, but I think the other advice is poor advice because I think it's not going to help you level up. You are guessing at the work and it's not going to end up in your portfolio because if you put a hackathon in your portfolio, you're showing me what you guessed at for hours. And Leela says, and now doing the whole UX process after explaining to them why, how, and what they gain from it. So that's it for that one. Let's take a look at a ping that was shared over in our Slack channel. And of course, if you want to join our Slack workspace, it's completely free. deltacx.link/join Slack. And of course, subscribe here on YouTube, ring that bell, empathize with the like button. And Kayleen reminded me to tell all of you, comments in YouTube really help us with the algorithm. So while I appreciate the live chat, if you can also put some friendly comments under the YouTube video itself, that greatly helps us. Maybe not for this stream, maybe for some of the better ones, but don't forget, comments really help. So if you're watching some old deltacx videos and you enjoy them, throw some comments under there. It really helps with the algorithm. So let's read this one. This is from Reddit. And the question is, how did you guys get hired with no experience or design degree? I'm making a career change. I've been doing a boot camp in the pandemic. I can't tell when this is from. It has no date on it. I'm struggling to get even an interview. I'm upset. I want to know what you did to get noticed and land a job without experience or a degree. And then somebody named UX Jim said, I went to a boot camp. You need to hustle, you need to network, and you need to fake it until you make it. Oh, UX Jim. They ask you if you have experience with such and such. Yes, I do. Lie and figure it out later. Get your foot in the door. Use recruiters, hit up friends of friends, LinkedIn your ass off. So obviously you can see why stuff like this pops up in our Slack channel. I certainly recommend against this. I don't recommend basing any relationship on lies. Not personal relationships, not business relationships. I don't suggest lying to a future employer. I have gotten jobs because people who lied to the employer were fired. So remember, this is a really kind of blue sky type of advice where it imagines nothing will go wrong. It's what we tend to call the happy path. Everything goes right, nothing goes wrong. You have to remember, if you lie to somebody and they figure it out, that could be just fine and nothing bad happens to you, or you could absolutely be fired. You could absolutely be in trouble. If you lie to an employer to get a job and they can't tell the difference between your lies and the truth, do you want to work there? Do you want to work at a place that can't tell the difference between truth and lies? Because that means maybe everybody else around you is faking it, or a liar, or low on ethics. So are you sure you want the job that's going to welcome and accept your lies? Is that the right workplace for you? Now, if you're watching my channel, you know it's not. Nobody who's watching my channel is going to fake it until they make it, and nobody watching my channel is going to lie to employers. That's not what we do here. We leave that to some of the other YouTube channels and broadcasters and Instagram accounts and so on. So I don't even have to say it. You know, this gets -1 dog out of 5 dogs. I have nothing lower than 1 dog out of 5. So certainly under no circumstances do I suggest that you lie. If you are not getting interviews, that's just a sign that you're not ready for a job yet. And these people are doing you a favor by not bringing you into a workplace and environment where you will be in over your head. There's no reason for you to go into a job where you are going to be in over your head. And if they say, do you have experience with such and such? Yes, you do. If someone says, do you have experience running observational research studies remotely and analyzing them, and you say yes, and number one, they don't know how to assess if you do or not from your portfolio or anything else you've said, because the next thing I'm going to say to that person in an interview is, great, tell me your process for that. So that means if you got that job, you're working at a place who can't even tell if you're good at your job or not, which means they might not be able to tell that about anybody else. Thanks to Darren for the cheese symbols. I bought some cheese and then I decided to go back to Weight Watchers, so I'm low on cheese. Solomon, I'm so happy to see you. These lies are likely the cause of the origin of design exercises, which are also lies unto themselves. So that's a whole other topic. So I'll leave this one for now, but y'all know what I think. And then finally for today, since I'm out of stuff, so don't forget to send more reactables to deltacx.link/reaction, and I save them up for Fridays. And I'm also saving up some of the new boot camps and programs you've sent. And when I get enough of them, I'll do a whole full episode on them. Darren says, terrible discussion, covered that on my podcast. Absolutely. Design exercises need to go away. When I think about the wonderful apprentices that I've gotten to work with at Delta CX in the last year, Hannah, Elijah, Ralitza, Mariam, Joshua, who am I missing? My boyfriend. These people weren't given design exercises. It doesn't have to happen that way. Parth says, do you do portfolio reviews? Yes. If you'd like a portfolio review, you have to watch episode 54 of my live show. You have to fix the problems that I mentioned in that, and then you can send it to me. So send it to deltacx.link/portfolio-reviews. It should be somewhere down here. But again, please don't do that until you've watched episode 54. If I get a portfolio full of common mistakes, I feel like you've wasted my time, and considering I'm doing it for free, please don't waste my time. And I want to finish off today with a post I put on LinkedIn this morning based on an Instagram post that I saw yesterday. Well, it's more than based on it, it's directly quoting it. So this Instagram post comes from Joe Rohde. If you're not familiar with Joe Rohde, I would like you to become familiar with him. Take 10 minutes and Google the hell out of him, because he's a really important creative genius from the last few decades, 4 decades or more. He's best known as one of the top Imagineers at Walt Disney Parks and Hotels. And if you have ever been to Disney World in Florida, he basically invented a lot of what's in Disney's Animal Kingdom. So he's behind a lot of really very interesting and special things, and he's someone worth knowing. So I follow him on Instagram. I do not know him personally. And this is what he wrote, and I just copied it and pasted it and made it a little bit easier to read, because Instagram, unfortunately, is one long paragraph in most cases. So here's what he wrote. The brainstorming meeting, by which I mean the big room, 40-person facilitated brainstorming meeting, the kind that has been productized, commodified, and industrialized to meet the needs of industry. Brainstorming meetings play into the perception of time value. Creative behavior should characterize the organization itself. In this way, unpredictable and serendipitous discoveries can emerge all the time. A massive world-changing idea can occur in an instant. It's impossible to calculate the time value of such an inspiration in cost per hours. What research has shown, including research which I myself have participated in, is that the most significant creative thought occurs in non-structured, non-focused, non-active time, basically when you are doing absolutely nothing, including talking. This pretty much describes the opposite of one of those frantic, loud, hyperactive, conversational brainstorming rooms where everybody is throwing around colored pieces of paper and scribbling with markers. Of course, a culture where some people are just walking around doing nothing some of the time drives managers absolutely crazy. So instead, we get the brainstorming meeting, a scheduled, approved, budgeted, limited, focused, and theoretically productive time when a display of creativity is allowed, but not non-active, silent, absorbed thought, the actual fountainhead of creativity. Instead, there's a kind of performative noise that looks at what people imagine creativity should be. Crazy. The brainstorming meeting allows an organization to quarantine creativity away from the precious vital organs of the organization itself. Brainstorming meetings are not going to go away. This is not because they're productive. It's because they meet the emotional needs of organizations. So, as a creative person, you will need to attend brainstorming meetings and perform the minstrel show of creativity just in order to keep the machinery going. But you, the actual creative person, should not be deceived. You need quiet, unassigned, personal reflective time for your brain to make the free associations from which creative ideas derive. Take it. I want to hear what Darren thinks of that. Darren, you still here? What do you think of that? Meanwhile, I'm going to switch back to a giant picture of me. I was just blown away by that. I felt like it really summed up many of the things that I'm talking about for workshops. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like workshops, but one of them is like ready, set, go, be creative. Ready, set, go, innovate. Come on, where's your innovation? Come on, let's disrupt our industry. You've got 2 hours or 5 days or whatever it is. Kayleen says, perspectives video idea. Quickly go through each circle in the UCD graphic. Oh, did I not do that? Oh, I meant to. Thanks. Thanks. Darren says, love his take. Roshan says, whammy. Darren says, wonderfully analytic and detailed description of what's happening. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Joe, and he retired from Disney Imagineering just last year, but he got picked up by somebody you wouldn't expect. I think he's working on like Virgin's Galactic project, something like that. I think he got picked up by Branson as a consultant. But Joe's an interesting guy to watch on Instagram, especially because he typically gives art history lessons in the form of changing famous song lyrics. So he's just one of those guys, like the guy who seems to know everything about everything. He's just really fantastic. So Kayleen says, I just found out who Joe Rohde is. Yeah, he's most people can spot him in a picture because of he's famous for the earrings he wears, but outside of being able to spot him in a picture, I really wish people knew more about his work, and I'm such a big Disney fan, as many of you know, so of course I've been familiar with his work for a long time, and love the word, Roshan says, love the word performative theater. Perfectly describes most of these design thinking sessions. Yeah, I agree. That's what I think about all of this. And so we got into a conversation on my LinkedIn because Stephanie chimed in and she said she tends to have her best ideas around water. She's like the swimming, the shower. And I said, yeah, me too. I said, I have so many ideas in the shower that I love that I've actually been going. I know this is too much information, y'all, but just stay with me. I've been going into the shower and turning on Otter, #not-sponsored. And of course, Otter is recording everything I say and then transcribing it. And some of the Medium articles you've read have been dictated from the shower. I'm just going to say that. And so, because I've got nothing to hide from any of you, and I think you all expect brutal honesty from me at this point. So, I feel tremendously creative in an appropriate temperature shower. And so I am dictating stuff. Some of the models that I've created, some of the early ideas were dictated from the shower into Otter. So thanks to Otter, not sponsored, I'm paying them $10 a month for hearing me well enough with water running that you can transcribe what I'm saying. Jennifer says 100%. Jasmine says, I wish I was someone who knows everything about everything. Instead, I know so little about so much. Hey, look, we're all there. We can't all be Joe Rohde. Darren says, those sessions also run the same risks as focus groups, fostering groupthink and its consequences. I agree. I don't believe in focus groups. Solomon says, I think it's the evolution of unproductive meetings. It gives the impression of work. Ooh, stuff is happening. We must be progressing towards success. Great point, Solomon, as always. Can we get Solomon on the show already, everybody? He's always got the wisest things. Anish says, LOL, probably at my shower stories. Darren says, IKEA effect bias is yet another undesirable bias that gets unleashed. So where do you all feel most creative? Where have you had some of your best ideas? I try to keep these streams short, so we'll wrap it up after I hear from some of you, but I'm just going to open my calendar and remind you of some of the streams coming up. Monday, we've got a new guest joining the show, Daniel Engelberg. He's going to give us some of his advice on overcoming limited access to users. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. Tuesday, of course, is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. And these are all 6:30 p.m. Italy time. So check your calendars. Let's see. Wednesday, no stream. Thursday, the 24th, is Darren's UX Chit Chat Hour. That is not on this channel. You'll have to find Darren for that, the UX Chit Chat Hour. Wilson says best ideas when he's trying to sleep. Yeah, I used to. That's part of why I have a Galaxy Note phone, because I used to like wake up and be like, oh my God, write things down on my phone, go back to sleep. See, next Friday, reaction stream. If there's anything to react to, we are now empty. We're caught up. Let's see, Monday the 28th, I'm going to do some of my new content, and I'm calling it Breaking the Addiction to Workshop, so that's pretty timely. I'm going to talk about some of my new slides about getting away from workshops, or how to start to break that addiction, and some of the things that I sometimes do instead. Tuesday the 29th, Office Hours Ask Me Anything. Let's see what's coming up after that. Friday, July 2nd, reaction stream. I think no one will be here. It's 4th of July weekend. Everyone's going to pretend they can't get COVID and go somewhere. Tuesday the 6th, Office Hours Ask Me Anything. Wednesday the 7th, I'm going to be doing my new slides on making UX agile and lean. Friday the 9th, reaction stream. Monday the 12th. Let's see, I've got a note here that says Michelle Ronson is coming to talk about convincing people on research. So value of research, July 12th, mark your calendars. And yes, I always get a question at this point, where can I see your calendar of stuff? Over here, deltacx.link/events. I know I read these out very often and you're like, wait, I didn't catch all of that. Don't worry, go to deltacx.link/events and you will see a Google Calendar with all of this. Tuesday, July 13th, Office Hours Ask Us Anything with Darren and Dr. Nick. Wednesday the 14th, Slack monthly networking, which I'm going to open up to LinkedIn peeps too, so we can try to meet some more peeps. I've got a few more that I'm planning, but they're later into July and August. In fact, it looks like, I don't want to speak too soon, but it looks like in August we might have Vivian Castillo joining us. So I'm very excited to see her again. We have met once, and it'll be great to have her on for pretty much anything she wants to talk about. Let's see. Solomon says, at the park, listening to Alan Watts' old philosophical talks to IBM engineers. That's a great way to inspire creativity. Parth says, when I just get long enough to get bored, the creative energy accumulates and boom. Darren says, I would love to hear your take when you don't like design exercises for jobs, but you have no choice. Do you mean no choice but to do them, or no choice but to make the candidate do them? So as the person looking for the job, or as the hiring manager? Kayleen says, sorry I'm so late. I was talking with Wilson and I realized, oh, thank you to somebody. We have all the emojis going off. A company I interviewed with last year made me do a design challenge, and it was literally the future candidate's work. What do you mean that your challenge was the future candidate's work? Future candidate? You were the candidate. Kayleen, I'm missing your story a little bit. Sorry. I was a boiled frog. Ooh. Tejal, I'm sorry, I don't remember how to pronounce your name, says, can't Abby come back again? Yes, I have spoken to Abby about coming back again, and it sounds like she is in the thick of writing her second book, and I don't want to interrupt her. So I think when her second book is done, we'll try to get her back on the show to talk about that and some other things she's been up to. So Abby for the future, yes. I'm also trying to get Jorge on. You know, we were lucky to have him speak at Concentric, which I still haven't edited the videos. I got to put that on my June to-do list. And let's see. Darren says, correct. No choice but to do them as a candidate. And Roshan says, I just did a few and I was applying for jobs recently. Yeah, I mostly don't do them, but my rules for doing them are I have to know the salary up front. So I will not do a design challenge if they won't tell me the salary or at least the range, because that way I can make sure that it's in my range. Because I once had a great first interview with a company. This must have been like 2012. I had a great first interview. I liked the hiring manager. I liked the company. And she's like, and we want you to do this design challenge. And don't worry, it's nothing like what our company does. So that's my other thing. I want to make sure it's not what their company does. And she's like, yeah, just spend a few hours on it. We want to see what you can do. And then I said, oh, wait a minute, what does this job pay? And she said a number to me, and I said, oh, that is way less than I'm making now. I'm sorry, I won't be able to continue with you unless you have some flexibility there. She was like, nope, no flexibility. And I said, okay, never mind. So check that the salary range is a match. If they won't tell you, never mind. Check that check that it's not something they could possibly use later because it's not something in their industry. Get as much information as you can, though they usually purposefully withhold this, on how it's going to be assessed. So for example, is it being assessed for the visual design? Is it being assessed for the interaction design? Is it being assessed for the prototyping? Is it being assessed for the planning and strategizing? I did one last year for an interview, and they said, we want you to make a customer journey map. And I was like, out of what? And I was like, you want me to just guess at a customer journey map? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'll make up a persona and I'll give them a completely fake journey that I made up. And they're like, yep. And I'm like, I mean, I did it because it was easy, because I had a few things lying around that I could put together quickly. But I was like, I don't think I want to work here if they think the way to test the absolute freaking magic that I can create is to have me guess at a customer journey map, which is just like, look at me, I can fill in a template. So, all right, by the way, this is no longer Deb reacts to stuff. This turned into office hours, ask me anything. What happened here? Ariana says, for an entry-level designer, college student like me, how do you recommend I go from here and land internships in the design world? I'm sorry, Ariana, I don't have good news. It's very difficult. I don't want to say nearly impossible, but there are very few internships and apprenticeships, and I'm trying to fight that. Halo says, any advice for looking for jobs? It seems like everybody wants 10 years of experience. I know. I don't have a lot of good advice right now because it's all a mess. And not only do they want 4,000 years of experience, but you have to be an artist and a sculptor and a strategist and an analyst and a writer. It doesn't make sense anymore. At some point, it's going to crash. It's going to correct itself and it's going to normalize, and we're not there yet. Kayleen says, like the assignment, what the candidate would be doing. Wilson says, reminds me of when my company was like, we're going to hire another UX designer just to do storyboarding based off no data. What? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. That's when you want to go. Darren says, Facebook did something like that to me. They asked me to come up with a scenario on the fly and talk about how I'd approach it, instead of talking about work I'd done and how I solved design problems and helped drive the solution. Amateurish. Yep. So anyway, this was supposed to be Deb Reacts to Stuff, and it ended up just a bit of a chat, but I'm always happy to see all y'all. So please do drop by next week, especially for Tuesday office hours, Ask Me Anything, where we just do this for an hour. And Yvonne says, as a UX UI student, which projects would you advise me to start with? Yvonne, anything with a mentor or coach. Any real or fake project you do, get a mentor or coach to review them. Otherwise, you are just guessing and you don't know what you're doing right, wrong, or otherwise. You don't know where you have room for improvement. I'm getting a hug. Can we have Frank Spiller? Add to the Slack topic where we're collecting who you want me to have on. I have spoken to Frank Spiller, so we've started a connection there, but I have not formally invited him. So go over to the Slack. Charlene, you know what I'm talking about. We've got a Slack topic on who you want me to invite. Put it in there, and when I get a brain minute, I'm going to go through that Slack topic and invite people. I did just invite somebody for content strategy, so we'll see if that pans out. ADP list is great for finding mentors, says Bob Big Wheels. I somewhat disagree. If you do go to ADP list to find mentors, before you get too invested in that mentor or speak to them, look them up on LinkedIn. Make sure they have years of experience in what you're hoping to either talk to them about or hoping to show them. It wouldn't make sense to find a visual designer and try to show them your research work. It wouldn't make sense to take a UI UX designer who's mostly a visual designer and try to show them your information architecture. So, and it wouldn't make sense for you to get mentoring from someone who's months ahead of your career path. So I would say you can certainly use mentorship groups, Slack channel peeps, paid clubs, ADP list, but please, please double check these people because some of them, in my opinion, shouldn't be mentoring because they might only have a year or two of experience. They can mentor on how they got their first job, but I don't necessarily want them reviewing your work because they might not have enough experience to tell you what's right, wrong, or otherwise. In some ways, they might be still learning themselves. Darren's joking, how about Jared Spool? That was the winky face. Yeah. I don't recommend him for anything. But there you go. Roshan says, Debbie, I was happy to see your stream shared on our company team's channel just a few moments ago. Yeah, this is me. This is a 15-minute stream of me reacting to stuff, and this is somehow turned into office hours, ask me anything. So I apologize. Darren says no on ADP list, huge no. And again, I don't want to say everyone on there is garbage, but I know what Darren is feeling. And I just want to say wherever you find a mentor, please choose them carefully and go to them with specific goals and asks. Don't go to people and go, can you help me? Do what? You know? So... and Charlene says, be careful on ADP list. They sometimes have people with 2 to 3 years of experience. Darren says ADP list is for folks looking to make a name for themselves. That's possible. Kayleen says, I saw someone on ADP list with 1 year of experience and I'm sticking with our Slack channel. Thank you. I hope you will. Wilson says they have people with 1 or less years of experience as well. Woo! Solomon says, UX work is skilled work. There are no shortcuts. You have to get qualified, skilled, and experienced people to teach it. Yeah, Darren says it's like taking what looks like a good slice of bread when the other slices are moldy. Yeah, so again, a little bit funky. Meanwhile, where I live, The Little Mermaid is being filmed near here, and they had to pause the production because a whole bunch of people got COVID. Oh, y'all, could you please wear 72 masks in a layer and please take care of yourselves? Masks are still mandatory here. Distancing is still mandatory here. I really hope people will still do these things, even if you think it's not cool. There's a lot more at stake here than coolness. Kayleen wants to know how my teeth are. I was at the dentist today and I do not have good news. So let's not broadcast this, but let's just say I do not have great news about, my teeth are great. I do not have great news about my jaw. Can you see how uneven it is? This side is smaller than this side. Yeah, I can see that. Anyway, I don't have great news about it. I don't have a disease, but there's definitely a mess in there, and not all of it can be fixed. We learned that today. So there you go. Wilson's giving me sad face for jaw issues. Maybe I talk too much. What do you think? Yes, maybe? So I just don't want to go into it because I'm a low ego action hero and nobody cares about my jaw. But the good news is, again, I don't have a disease, and so I'm grateful for that. Darren's given me puppet eyes emoji. Kayleen says I'm opening my jaw more today. Very good. Kayleen had all of her wisdom teeth out last Friday, everybody, so I'm glad she's feeling better. Kayleen's giving me a broken heart. Thank you, Kayleen. At least it's not the wisdom teeth's fault. That's the other thing we learned. So it sounds like it might have been my orthodontist's fault when I was 8. Sounds like he might have set my jaw out of alignment, 40 years ago. So y'all, when you're getting your kids braces, get the best guy. So let's see, my phone is going off. Is it any of you? No, it looks like spam. All right, so I'm going to play us out of here. I'll see you all Monday with Daniel Engelberg, and then we'll definitely do Tuesday office hours Ask Me Anything. It's like this. It's not the reaction stream is supposed to be the reaction stream and then done. So thank you. You almost missed me, and I miss you too. So we'll do office hours Ask Me Anything Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Italy time. If you want to ask your questions ahead of time, remember to send them to deltacx.link/ask. And I will queue up your questions for Tuesday. So everybody, have a great day. Have a great weekend. Be safe. 3 masks at least. My dentists were wearing 2, and if they can do it, you can do it. I'm wearing triple layer mask with a 4-layer filter, so I'm doing the best I can. I'm a little Darth Vader-y. Be well, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you soon.
Delta CX, available for CX and UX consulting, projects, and training. Contact us for a free consultation.